He gets struck by lightning and that's it. Carson doesn't need to plan his future anymore because he's dead. Hello everybody, I'm Dylan and today we're going to take a look at Struck by Lightning, a film released in 2012, written by and starring Chris Colfer. That's right, for you Glee fans out there, Kurt Hummel from Glee wrote this film and stars in it. The film was directed by Dannelly, production company is Permut Presentations, and distributed by Tribeca Films. Now, I'll say right now, Struck by Lightning isn't exactly a gay-themed film, but it features Chris Colfer, a well-known actor who portrayed what I consider to be a milestone gay character. And there is a gay couple in this film, so I do put this movie on my gay flicks list. As we begin, we get a brief glimpse into Carson Phillips' youth, Carson played by Chris Colfer. It's established that he's more intelligent than his peers, he's a bit of an annoying smartass, so at first you wonder, oh god, what type of character is this gonna be? We then see his mom taking care of his sick grandmother who has signs of Alzheimer's disease. Then we see his dad walk out on the family. So we see that Carson's family life isn't the greatest. Cut to 5 years later, we see his mom has become an alcoholic, passing out on the couch, obviously upset over her husband ditching the family. Carson seems to be self-sufficient, taking care of his mom, going to school, etc. Although the introduction to Carson's character isn't the best, he seems to be every teacher's nightmare, a genius student who's also bitchy. Nobody likes an intimidating know-it-all. Colfer is able to bring him back to a sympathetic character somewhat. He wants to be in charge of the writers' club, because he likes to write and it would look good on his university application. His only friend is Mallory, who is interested in writers' club as well. At first they want to get a newspaper for the school started, but then Carson decides on a literary magazine instead. So they try to get other students to join. Nobody's interested, so how will they grow their little group? By blackmail, of course. Carson catches two guys making out in a bathroom and blackmails them into joining the writing team. What a great start to a journalism career. So they begin blackmailing other students as well with dirt they find on them, and even a coach. Guess what his dirt is? There's also a side story of Carson's dad who wants to marry another lady, but can't because Carson's mom never signed the divorce papers. The dad invites Carson to a dinner to meet his new girlfriend. It doesn't go well, Carson feels resentment of being abandoned and having seen his dad twice in the last 5 years. The dad's a pretty big douchebag. So you get an idea of what this film's about. It's a true-to-life drama that somehow culminates with our main character getting struck by lightning. And this isn't a spoiler, the film sets this up from the start. There are a few themes to this film. At the forefront is coming of age. We have high school students in their last year of school, and they're preparing themselves for the future. This is mostly with our main character Carson. We're not necessarily sure what the other students' plans are. They're sometimes mentioned in passing. A secondary theme is interpersonal relationships. A lot of the relationships in this film are interesting. The relationship between Carson and his mom, between his mom and his dad, Carson and the other students. Carson has the head cheerleader, two closeted gay guys, and other students he blackmailed to join his paper. But through the process they do get to know each other, share advice, and they get to know each other in a way they didn't before, even though they've known each other throughout their entire schooling. A third theme is broken home. This is apparent with Carson, who's had to grow up a little faster, with his dad abandoning the family, and his mom fighting her own depression and alcohol. His grandmother says it best when she tells Carson that he used to be all happy as a kid, but now he walks around with a lot of negative energy. And you can understand why. Him and his mom were basically betrayed by the father, so there's constant anger and resentment in Carson. Finally, we have chasing your dreams and looking to the future. Being a student in his last year of school, of course there is a lot of talk of the future in his career. I think first and foremost, Carson just wants to get out of his little hometown. And I can understand that. I was also from a small town, and I couldn't wait to get out of there, so I can definitely relate. So, Struck by Lightning definitely has some interesting pieces in play. It's a story written by Chris Colfer himself. I assume he must have drawn some inspiration from his own life. Not 100% of course, because Carson gets struck by lightning. I do find there are some odd decisions made in the presentation of this film. At its core, there are a lot of dark and depressing plot points, like the father running out on his family, the increasing hardship of taking care of a grandmother with Alzheimer's disease, a distraught and alcoholic mother, Carson's cynical attitude sometimes, finding dirt on students and blackmailing them, etc. But the film is very bright and colorful, and you often hear like a comical jingle or music with levity throughout the film. So it's like they're trying as hard as possible to make the heavy subject matter not too heavy. It's a bit of a contrast. Although the film is considered to be a comedy drama, I didn't really laugh that much. I don't know if the jokes just didn't land for me or what, but that's fine. I mean, I like a good drama as well. This film definitely doesn't go for the cinematography of 154. This film could have been just as depressing, but like I said, the movie is shot bright and colorful and the music is chosen carefully as to not make the film too depressing. I also thought that the blackmail scene dragged on a bit. Carson and his friend look for dirt on students to blackmail them into joining the writing club. But after 10 minutes, it's like, okay, we get the point. Our characters are blackmailing other students. Can we move on, please? Even by the end of the film, Carson gets struck by lightning, and there's a heart-crushing scene with his poor mom having gotten the news from the police, and she desperately tries to call Carson on his phone. Now this scene was really gut-wrenching. Phew, what strong acting by actress Allison Janney, who plays Carson's mom. I've read a lot of comments that people thought the characters in this film weren't very developed, except for Carson and his mom. I would probably agree, but at the same time, this is a movie less than 2 hours, so if you have 10 to 15 characters, you can't fully develop all of them. I do think that the development that is there is great. Carson starts off as a snooty, obnoxious know-it-all, but Colfer is still able to bring him to a sympathetic level. He's a kid hurt by the separation of his parents. We feel sorry for him, but he's not perfect. He sometimes has a big mouth and blackmails other students to write for his paper. His mom is very interesting as well. She's an alcoholic, bitter about her husband leaving her. We really feel bad for her, but at the same time, she isn't perfect either. She throws out Carson's acceptance letter to the university, I presume as a means to keep him nearby, afraid of getting abandoned by Carson as well. Although she tells Carson she doesn't want him to suffer disappointment. Carson's grandmother is interesting as well. Although she suffers from Alzheimer's and doesn't always recognize Carson, she's a lot more blunt with her opinions, and these are things that Carson needs to hear. So, you know, these are good layers. The other characters aren't as well developed, but this is an hour-and-a-half movie. It's not a series with many episodes. I also wonder if the gimmick of being struck by lightning is necessary. They could have just have Carson reflect on his school year, maybe give a monologue about what he plans to do next, where his life will take him, etc. But nope, he gets struck by lightning and that's it. Carson doesn't need to plan his future anymore because he's dead. Which brings me to the message of this film. What is it exactly? Work hard, but everyone will probably work against you and you'll probably fail? Come on, that's not a very interesting message. I guess the message is not to forget to enjoy the present, even when you're planning your future. People spend a lot of time preparing for their future and working hard or studying hard, but sometimes we forget to enjoy the present too. Carson really wants to get out of his town and go to university, but he forgets he's made connections with some people. It's a shame he has to blackmail them to reach this point, but nevertheless, he should have enjoyed his senior year more because, well, he was struck by lightning and that's it, game over. So the message is, life doesn't have a destination, just a voyage, so you need to take time to enjoy the voyage. We never know what surprises life will throw at us, good or bad, so don't forget to stop and smell the roses and enjoy the now. Some people didn't like the Carson character. This isn't the sweet, lovable Kurt from Glee. But I mean, that's fine. I don't think an actor should play the exact same role when he's a different character. I think Chris Colfer wanted to write a character where he could put a lot of energy into it. But his angry outbursts and challenges to authority come off as obnoxious. When he stands up to the principal, you're almost more rooting for the principal and you just want to say, "Shut up, Carson." It rubbed people the wrong way, but as I said, I think Colfer can still bring the character to a likable, relatable level. As for ratings, IMDb has a rating of 6.2 out of 10. It's rated 32% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, this isn't a gay-themed film per se. We presume Carson to be straight, although it's not really established in the film. We don't see Carson have a crush on anyone, so his orientation is still up for debate. We have two gay students who have a secret relationship, but except for being blackmailed for it, it doesn't really have any other bearing on the story. So, just as a drama film, I give Struck by Lightning a 7.5 out of 10. It's not perfect, but there are some key things in this film that I do like, and real situations that kids have to deal with. Real life problems that don't necessarily get resolved here. Our characters keep chugging along through them, but it still makes for a decent film. So have you seen Struck by Lightning? What did you think about it? Feel free to leave me a comment, like, subscribe, add me to Facebook, and I'll hopefully see you for the next review.